Hello everybody, my name is Richard Zoltik and I will be providing the video tutorials for this program. Last day we left off with a metric drawing. This is assignment number 2, which is all in Imperial. So I will select File, New, and begin a brand new drawing here. File, New, and I'll just use the CAD-DWT file. Okay. Now this particular file, as you know, when you start the DWT file, it doesn't have any layers assigned to it. So there's a quick way of importing layers that we can use in order to save us some time from the previous drawing, even though the previous drawing was in metric. So I'm going to open up one of the previous drawings that I have here, and I have in my lesson 7 folder, 7A, so I'll open that one up. And I'll be using this in a couple different ways, but for now, just to show you how to import your layers. So I'm going to go into model space. Now this drawing here has basically all the layers I've been using. So I'm going to select Edit, Copy with Base Point, use that 00 point as my base. Doesn't really matter in this particular case. Click a window to select all of the items, press Enter. Now I'm going to go back to my drawing template file, and I'll select Edit, Paste as Block. Now this is important just because it's quicker. Paste as block, put it anywhere, click. And you'll notice when I do that, it imports all the layers that were active at that time. Now there's a couple layers missing only because they weren't selected in the number of items that I had actually picked. So viewport layer or the title block layer, they weren't actually picked in this particular case, and that's why they're not here. Now you can see it's fairly large, but the reason we want to import this or paste this block is so I can click on any one part of it and it picks it all. Now I press delete. And so all I've done is save myself some time in recreating all the different layers that we've been working in the past. Assignment number 2 is in Imperial and architectural units. So the first thing I need to change in here is my actual unit display. So I'll type in units, and for length I'll switch that to architectural. And for precision, I'm going to change that to 1/8 of an inch. 1/16 is really small. 1/8 allows us to see whether we're within a fraction. It's actually too small, but 1/4 inch is the accurate amount. Now, why we don't use 1/4 is because of the rounding off factor. I'd rather use 1/8 and get it right down to 1/8 of an inch accuracy, and then round up to 1/4 inch. This also includes how the sample input, or how we put in numbers in order for AutoCAD to understand what it is that we're doing. The insertion scale we're going to leave at inches, so any file that I import that's already created in inches will come in at the right scale. The rest of this we're just going to ignore for now. And now we're ready to work on the drawing. So I'm going to quickly lay this project out and identify the different lines and just create all the different doors and windows and openings for now. So let's go into our interiors. We have an interior wall and an exterior wall. In this particular case, I noticed that there's 2 exterior walls on the left and the top side of assignment number 2, and then the rest of them seem to be interior walls. So let's lay those out first. So I'm going to go into walls exterior, and I'm going to create some construction lines. So click on draw. The construction line is the one with the arrow in 2 directions. And I'm going to click anywhere on the screen for now, and I want to make a horizontal and a vertical line. So hold down Shift, that will give me my horizontal, and I click. Now I don't have to do anything else with this construction line command other than move my cursor. So when I do that, I'm going to hold Shift again, and this gives me a 90-degree angle. Now that I'm done, I press Enter, and as I zoom out, see, it goes on forever. So this is just giving me a horizontal and vertical line to the top left-hand corner of this. I'm going to readjust it so it's better centered on my page eventually, but for now this is perfect. Okay. So these exterior walls are how thick? Well, according to this diagram, they're 11 inches. So I'm going to select Offset, and I'm going to type in 11. So with inches, we don't have to indicate the inch mark. The default setting here is inches. So when I type in 11 and press Enter, it's referring to inches. And I want to use this line in this direction. Now I don't see it because I'm zoomed in way too tight. And then the top line in this direction. Now I can zoom out, and I'm just rolling my mouse and get a sense of scale for this. There we go. Okay, so there is my 11 inches horizontal and vertical. Okay, So these particular items are our exterior walls. I don't need all this line work above or below, but I'm going to be using it in the beginning as offset tools to construct the interior portion of the walls. So from here, I have to first create the first width, which indicated here is 7 foot 5.5 inches. So how do we punch that value in? I'm going to select offset. And notice it's asking me through the distance. It already has 11 inches because that's what I put in the first time. That's now the default setting. So I have to put in a new value. And you can see on my cursor here, it says specified distance. So how do we type in 7 feet 5.5 inches? 5.5 inches is the same as 5.5 inches. So I'm going to type in 7, and then the foot mark. It's right beside the enter key on the right side. It's the apostrophe. 7 foot 5.5 for 5.5 inches, and press enter. Now I can click on the inner part of the outside wall, and notice it automatically selects to the right because my cursor's on the right. And this is how far in we are on this particular object. Excellent. So what about the next wall that's beside it? What are the interior walls? Well, when I'm looking at this, all the interior walls to the right of that are 4.5 inches. All right, offset 4.5, enter. Notice no inch mark. Once again, it's the default setting. There it is. Great, that creates that wall. The width of the water closet is how wide? Well, at the top of the screen it shows it's 3 feet wide. So offset. Here I can either type in 3 feet or the inch equivalence, which is 36 inches. Well, it says 3 feet. It's easier to type in exactly what's put down rather than try to do a conversion. So 3 plus that apostrophe beside the enter key, and press enter. And select the inner part of that wall and the inside. And then that wall again is 4.5 inches. So I'll click on offset 4.5 and click on the line and the side. Now, I've got a lot of extra line work here I don't need, so I'm going to trim it all off. I'm going to click on trim, and I'm simply selecting to the right of all these lines, moving my cursor across, press enter. And what enter will do one more time is reinitiate the command, and now I'm going vertical. There we go. Now I can see my line work a bit better. I'm going to go from top to bottom to identify the overall distance, but take a look at this. The diagram doesn't give you overall distances in the same way that I can just type in a single value. It gives you a multiple of different numbers. And in this particular case, what we like to do is use the simplest way of creating this so that we minimize the amount of extra effort that's required. I'm going to first convert all these lines here, and I'm just clicking in, moving my mouse and selecting. These are all the interior wall lines. I've selected them all, and I'm going to change the layer from exterior to interior. Okay, so now whenever I offset them, they'll be interior walls. So this line, I'm going to go downwards and select all the different offsets for all these different values that are here that are in the master bathroom. So the 6'4", the 4 inch, 3'6", 4 inch, and then the 6'1". So let's put those together here. So offset 6'4", so that is 6 feet 4, enter. Click on the line, click on the side. Then there's a 4 inch value. So offset 4 and enter. There's my 4 inch value. Then a 3'6" value, offset. Now here's something interesting. 6 inches is half a foot. So I have a couple choices here. I can either type in 3 feet 6, or I can type in 3.5 feet. 0.5 feet is half a foot, or 6 inches, because it's 12 inches to a foot. Half a foot is 6 inches. So it can be confusing, but if you understand this, it's a lot faster. So it may take some time to understand the conversion between inches and decimal feet. And that's what I've done here. 6 inches is 0.5 feet. Press enter. Select that lower line. Offset it. Great. Next value is 4 inches. Offset 4, enter. Select the line. Select the side. Make sure you select the right side, because if I go up, I'm picking the wrong side. So select the right side, And the last value there looks to be 6'1". Offset 6 feet 1. Enter. Select a line. Select the side, and that's that other wall. It's an odd dimension. It's 8¼ inches. All right. Here's another thing we must consider when we're looking at inch values. A 1/4 inch is 0.25 inches. A 1/2 inch is 0.5 inches. So if I select offset and I type in 8.25, press enter, that is my 8¼ inches. You can see it in my cursor right now. So 0.25 is a 1/4 inch, 0.5 is 1/2 an inch, and so on. So I've got all my walls that are my values that I need along this line. You'll notice that the doorway here is this section that's 3'6", but the rest of the lines I don't need. So I'm going to trim these off here. I don't need these, and I don't need these. And this is where the actual opening is, 3'6". The other side of this has a door, which is 2'8", and we'll calculate that afterwards. I'm just cleaning this drawing up so it makes it easier to see, because we've got some other values that I'm going to have to adjust here. For instance, this line is going to be trimmed back. This line is going to be trimmed back. I'm going to use a slightly different method. Whenever you're just trimming a single segment like that, you can click them off like that. But whenever you're sort of trimming multiple segments, we're going to use trim in a slightly different manner. So I'm going to select trim again, and this time at the bottom you'll notice you have this option cutting edge. I'm going to select the cutting edge, and this line represents the cutting edge of this line. Notice on opposite sides of this wall, the wall thicknesses changes from 8¼ to 6½. Alright, so I'm going to pick the cutting edge here, press enter, then I click on this entire line and it disappears without me having to do multiple clicks throughout this whole region. Now, this offset line is 6½, so offset 6.5, enter, click on the lower line, click on the line above. And I'm going to use the same technique here in order to trim this line to this point. So trim, click on the word cutting edge. So where does it end? Right here. And I press enter, and then I can click away that entire line segment. Great. Now I can use trim the way I normally do. So the rest of this I'm just going to, with trim selected, cross over top of everything. There we go. Clean up all the details in here and here. I don't need this line anymore, and I don't need this line. Great. So there is my drawing of that portion of the bathroom space. And in here I can trim that away as well. Okay, so I have a 4-inch gap here, and I have to look at these segments individually to figure out which is the easiest way. I think right now I'm going to just trim out this door, so I will offset. The door frame looks to be 9 inches on either side of this way, and then I will trim all of this stuff in between. There we go. This wall seems to continue, this wall seems to continue, so I'll leave that. I can clean all of the insides of this particular portion in here. So let's do that. I'm zooming in on it. Now trim this, trim that, trim these. Let's see what happens here. Oh, it completely disappears. So I will trim this and trim that, and then I can go in here and trim that and trim that. Okay, that looks good. What about in here? Well, I've got an opening that goes backwards as well. So there's a 4-inch gap which I've already offset. So I don't need this line. Obviously, I don't need this one either, or this one. Good. I'll eventually have to get rid of that one anyway, so I might as well do it now. Good. Now I'm going to offset. How wide is that? 4.5 inches. 4.5. This line this way. Great. This line continues all the way through, so I'm going to leave that. Then the door opening has 4-inch jambs. So offset 4 and enter. Go this way and this way, and now I can do a whole bunch of trimming here. I don't need any of these. I don't need any of these. I don't need any of these. Get rid of that line, and then get rid of these and get rid of those. And there is that doorway. Great. Okay, this all looks good. This looks good. I don't need that line. Good. What about above here? It's doing something a bit funky. Okay, let me get rid of these two lines here. It looks like it's a wide window sill of about 1 foot 5 inches. Okay, so let's offset this. 1 foot 5, 1 foot 5, enter. And that's from the outer edge inwards. Now, I have to be careful. This line, because I offset this one, is an exterior wall line. Okay, so if I click on it, you'll see wall exterior. This one I changed already to wall interior. So this one I have to also change to wall interior. So I click on the line, drop down the menu, change what it is. Okay, now I've got everything I need here. Yep. So I will trim. Let's get rid of these 3 lines here. I don't need that one. I don't need this exterior wall from here to here. Okay. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. Where's the window cell? Okay, I haven't got the window cell or the offsets here yet. How wide are those jambs? 3 inches. Okay, offset, 3 and enter. So this comes in 3, this comes in 3. Now, again, trying to keep track of what everything is. This line is not necessary. I don't need that line. I don't need that line in here, and I don't need that line. Good. What do I keep? I don't need this one, this one. There's my jamb from my window. Perfect. Oh, I'm still missing a couple of trim commands here. Don't need that or that. There we go. I think that's everything. Reviewing the drawing, I found an error here. I had inadvertently removed part of this 4-inch jamb. I could reconstruct it, do offset, fill it. There's all sorts of different ways of doing this. So let's just rebuild it. So I'll select offset 4 inches and click on the line in the side. And what I'm going to do is extend that line, extend this line, and now I can trim all that away. Don't need that, this, or this. It's very easy with all the different line segments that we had in this drawing to lose track of the lines that you need. Now all these lines extend for a fairly long distance. I'm going to pick a location. I just draw a line here, hold down shift, and to give me enough room, I do need a boundary edge when I go to eventually hatch all of this, and I will trim all this information off. And there's my entire diagram. Eventually, like I said, I'll remove this line or I'll hatch up to it so it represents the drawing that we see here. Okay, so let's save this file. File, save as. And in my particular case, I have separate folders for everything. So let's go into assignment number 9 in here, and this will be basically the layout drawing. And now we're ready for the next steps, which will be dimensioning this particular project.